What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and this is day 2 of my free-to-play account. And I thought it'd be really good to go ahead and put out another video on my free-to-play account because I've actually made quite a bit of progression already in one day, and we're actually going to start developing cards. And cards is something that players get stumped on quite a bit. So hopefully I can provide you some information on how to approach putting certain cards on and how to approach building them as you go through the game. But the first thing I want to show you is my actual progression. So these are the characters that I've been able to get so far. Now, something to keep in mind is every character that you get to 6-star mastery, and what that means is you'll get them at 6 stars, and then mastery means you'll have all red stars. So my Scarlet Spider here is all masteried up. He is at 6 stars. He does have all 6-star mastery. So he counts for your shield level, or I'm sorry, your agent level, right? And the higher your agent level goes, that's going to allow you to go further in the game. So right now in Dimension Mission, they won't let me go to stage 7 because I need to reach level 15. Right now I'm at level 5. So whenever I get 15 6-star characters with full mastery, I'll be able to start moving up in the Dimension Mission. And this is where you farm all of your resources. You're going to farm your ISOs, you'll farm your cards, everything. Now the cards you actually can farm in other places, your obelisk, and these obelisks will actually increase your damage and increase your stats for your characters. Your urus, these will also increase your damage and your stats for your characters. Very, very powerful stuff. All these things here are used to level up certain characters, like these purple stones are used to level up universal characters. These are used to level up speed. And you can see little icons next to them. This one is for blast, this one's for combat, and so on and so on. And this actually levels up the experience for your character. So this is where you actually farm. And whenever you're in here, you're going to be getting these tokens right here. Now, the first few times you do this, you actually run through the Dimension Missions, they'll actually give you 5,000 tokens each time. But then eventually, after you get a certain amount of rewards, they'll only start giving you 10. And what you can do with those tokens is you can actually start farming for certain materials. So currently right now in the game, what I'm doing, or what I've done a little bit, is I've actually farmed in the comic card chest. And this is where you're going to get a lot of those free-to-play comic cards, and where you really should be start farming in the beginning of the game with these tokens, because once you start applying cards to your account, that's going to increase all of the stats and damage for all of your characters on your account. That's very, very, very important. But before we get into the cards, I do want to show you guys something. So I told you all in that last video that, Scarlet Spider is an excellent character. Him and Cersei are two of the best characters that you should start with your selector that you're going to get for free in the game. And there's a reason for that. At level 52, with no ISO 8 set, I had this obelisk on him. I did get a critical damage with 110% proc. No uniform, of course. No urus, no nothing like that. Level 15 gears. This guy was able to clear World Boss Ultimate for me. And we're going to go into World Boss right now. And we're going to go against Proxima. Now, something to note about all of these World Bosses is Proxima, you want characters that deal physical damage against her. Energy-based damage doesn't do that well against her because she has a major damage reduction against energy-based characters. Call, you want to use energy-based characters because he has a high reduction against physical damaging characters. Corvus, if you use a speed-type character, you'll get the maximum amount of damage output against them, but you can use any character you want. If you use a Universal, if you use a Blast, if you use a Combat, they actually get a 50% damage reduction against Corvus. They do 50% less damage to him. That's something to keep in mind. Supergiant here, I actually haven't even played, really, to be honest. I'm not really sure what the requirements are for her, so I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not really sure about that. Ebony here, you want to use all elemental characters. Energy-based characters will work against Ebony, but when you use characters that use elemental damage like fire, cold, they're going to do more damage to him. He isn't resistant at all to them. He takes a lot more damage from elemental characters. And Thanos, it just doesn't matter. And those are the world bosses you really should be focusing on. You don't really want to focus on these mutants over here, Quicksilver, Cable, Scarlet, and Apocalypse. You don't really want to focus on them because they're just going to give you certain materials that you really don't need. The materials that you actually need for the characters that you're normally going to be leveling up, especially early on in the game, are all in these world bosses on the left side. So we're going to go against Proxima, and that's just a brief rundown of them. I'll probably go through them in a little bit more detail in another video, but we're just doing stage 1. And this is how insane this is, guys. Just the first day of progression, I was able to beat this twice. Second day of progression, I'll be able to beat it 3 times. You can see I've already beat it twice. And we're going to use Clea. Now, because I have no cards equipped at all, I have no cooldown. Clea actually gives 60% skill cooldown. And I actually got her from a free pull in the store, which is actually nice. You get a free pull, a free hero pull every single day. Matter of fact, we'll just go to the, if this thing ever works, it's kind of freezing up on me a little bit. There we go. If you go to the store, you get a free pull from this free hero chest every single day. And I actually got Clea from here, which is pretty damn awesome. She's actually a character you're going to need later on for an epic quest. So I got really lucky on that deal. But these characters with these skill cooldown leaderships like this are very important. And you only increase your skill cooldown or increase the leadership that they have by increasing their mastery. So putting those red stars on them. And that's really, really going to help a Scarlet Spider to be able to use cooldowns. Now, something to keep in mind is my Scarlet Spider is tier 1. He's not even tier 2. He's level 59. He has an insanely bad build. Terrible. We have no cards equipped on this account at all. We're just going to use whatever strikers we can. I mean, Thor here is just offering lightning damage. That's not going to help, but it might help as far as maybe doing a little extra damage. But, I mean, he's just 6-star. He has no mastery. Something to note also is you can always look at the skill here to see what they do whenever they come in and strike. So Iron Man here actually deals physical damage whenever he comes in. And he actually increases damage dealt to supervillain faction by 10% when attacked, which actually helps quite a bit. So let's jump in here. Let's do this. Now, this might take me a few tries. We'll see. So when you play Scarlet Spider, you know, 3, 4, 5. And look at the damage he's doing. Now I'm going to switch to Black Panther because Black Panther's actually got immunity on that 5th skill. Now, something about Proxima to note is she does have penetration. She can actually penetrate through immunity, and yeah, she pretty much murdered. So this is a very, very bad start. I'm not even sure if I'll keep Scarlet Spider alive. We're just going to try to do the old circle run here. And this is why you want cooldown right here. Because your characters, look at how long and I'm waiting for my cooldown. And you see, I only need to do this a few times and I'll be able to do enough damage to actually get the clear. There we go, and boom, look at that, guys. I came in here one time and I was able to do this with no cards, no nothing. This is why I mentioned that Scarlet Spider is such a great character, not to mention, I mean, even at tier 1, he can do a World Boss Ultimate Clear. So you can start getting these BAM right here. You can start getting these biomes for Proxima, who's a great character with her uniform. And you can start getting these Norn Stones. You start getting these clear tickets. These are all very, very important to help level up your character. That BAM is going to be very important later on. And that's why I told you to choose him or Cersei from that selector, because I know they're that strong that they can actually get it done. That is insane with level 15 gears. That is crazy. So that's why I asked you to pick that character. Now, let's jump into the cards. So you are going to be able to put 5 cards on your account, or equip 5 cards on your account. And all of these card stats will apply to every single character in the game. The number 1 stat that you want to be starting off with on a free-to-play account is skill cooldown, for the reasons that I just explained with Scarlet Spider or any other character that you're playing with. Now, I've already showed you how I was able to get those cards. I went in a sports shop. I was able to get cards from there. You can get cards from playing the Dimension missions. And these are the cards that I've gotten. So what you want to do is you want to look at your cards and you want to see, you know, what kind of stat that they offer. Like this one offers critical damage. This one offers attack speed. This one offers movement speed. All the stats that are in the orange will always stay the same stat. They're never going to change, but you can increase the quality. See the number 6 on this first card here, that number 6 right there, or the number 6, that's the quality of the card. These go all the way up to quality 7, which will give you the max stats for that card. But when you're free to play and you're in the very beginning of starting a new account, you're not really too worried about that. What you're worried about is getting enough cooldown on your account so that way you can rotate through your skills more often. I mean, if you have a 5-second immunity on a character and the skill has a 10-second cooldown, right? If you have max cooldown, that means every 10 seconds you'll be able to use that 5-second immunity. That means only 5 seconds at a time you'll be running around trying to survive. If you don't have any cooldown at all and you have a 20-second cooldown on a skill that has a 5-second immunity, well, that means you're going to do that 5-second immunity, but then you're going to have 15 seconds where you're going to be running around all over the place trying to survive, and you can easily get one-shotted, especially early on in the game. That's why cooldown is so important. Number one, my friends, number one. Number two is going to be ignore defense. And these are all at 1 star, and the cards that are at 2 star, let me see if I can find some here. Scroll down to the bottom. 2 star, 2 star, where you at? The 2 star cards will actually show you 2 stats. Now typically, and this isn't for all cards, but for these free-to-play cards, you're going to get 2 orange stats, and then after that, they're going to turn blue. Now, what cards should you be using? 2 of the best cards to ever equip are going to be this Loki card. This card is amazing because you're going to be getting all attack and cooldown. So I'm actually going to go ahead and equip that card right here. Now what I've done is, view card effects, is I've gained myself 5% cooldown, right? And when you upgrade that card, you can actually level up. So in this next slot, we're going to put another card in there that has amazing cooldown, and that is this card. We got dodge and cooldown. So we're going to go ahead and equip that. Now the max cards that I have are 2 star. You can't be too picky in the very beginning when it comes to your cards. You can't be too picky at all. And then the next stat that you need is actually ignore defense. So when I look at all these other cards, the one thing that you can do is you can actually go to your cards here. So say, for example, I'm looking at this card right here, right? I got ignore defense and critical rate. Ignore defense is very important. I can go to my cards here and I can look for that Star-Lord card. See if we can find it, wherever it's at. I probably passed it up. There it is. And now you can actually look at the stats that are actually available when you start re-rolling the card. So you're always going to have ignore defense and critical rate, again, because they're orange stats. But these blue stats are the stats that can change when you start upgrading your cards. So this one here, you can get physical attack, dodge, max HP, cold resist, or fire resist. It's all RNG as far as which one you get. The physical attack is what you'd really want. And then here you see all the different ones. See that cooldown? That's the one we'd want the most. So when I upgrade this card, all I want is cooldown, and then I would probably have it equipped. So we're going to go back to own cards here. And we got a quality 6 card. We're going to go ahead and equip that right here. There we go. Now, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to upgrade this card. And I want to upgrade it with these Groot cards because I have a whole bunch of them. Okay. Okay, so we got some max HP, right? And every time we go up another star, we're going to gain another blue stat. So if I want to upgrade this card, I need to use 3 stars, right? But that max HP is going to help as far as our survivability. It's going to help us out quite a bit. So now we need to look at our view card effects, and I see we have 10% cooldown. We got a little ignore defense. We got some all attack and critical rate. We need more cooldown, right? We need more cooldown. The problem is right now, I have no other cards that offer that cooldown. This is actually a pretty decent card. Ignore defense, attack speed, and critical damage. That's not bad. That's a card we'll probably equip. This card has no cooldown, and that's what we're looking for. We want cards with cooldown, and unfortunately, we don't have any. There are other cards that do offer cooldown as a main stat, but I'm just going to have to keep pulling in the support shop in hopes to get one that's going to help out here. And the cool thing about this is early on in the game, it doesn't really matter. I mean, as far as your stats, you just want that cooldown. That's all you're looking for. So I'm going to go back down here. I'm going to go to this card here, and I'm going to go ahead and equip it. Because again, that ignore defense is going to help quite a bit. That critical damage is going to help. And so will that attack speed. So we look at my card effects. Now we got 10% ignore defense. We got a little all attack, critical damage, crit rate. And we got a little attack speed. It's actually fairly well balanced. A little max HP and dodge. Actually, these are decent stats to have so far. But we got 10% cooldown. We're really going to want a lot more than that. So my plan from this point forward is I'm going to try to get certain cards from the legendary battle. And those are going to be in the Thor Ragnarok legendary battle. So click on normal here. And I believe we go to the last one here. Click on the top left. You'll be able to get this card right here, the Loki #1, when you have this uniform and you level it up to heroic. Now, I realize that, you're going to have to buy the uniform, but the first uniform that you buy in this game costs 700 crystals. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to do this yet or not. It's one of those things, guys, where you got to weigh out what are you striving for? What are your goals in the game? My goal is to get Pierce. And let me explain what Pierce is. Pierce is an effect in the game that completely ignores the defenses of your opponents. So whenever you're playing in World Boss, whenever you're playing in other game modes that are not PvP, that Pierce is actually going to play an effect. Actually, I'm not really sure if it plays an effect in PvP or not. I think maybe when you have a debuff removal, maybe it doesn't. I'm not really sure, to be perfectly honest on that one. But I know in World Boss, I know in game modes like Squad Battle and World Boss, the Pierce definitely takes effect. It makes a big difference in the amount of damage you do. Just gaining a little bit of Pierce is going to do more for you than gaining a lot of all attack. That's been proven. So, and only the P cards, only those cards that have that shiny glow that's going across them with the P in the top left-hand corner are going to be able to give you those stats. Now, you got to farm a lot of materials to get to the point where you can start using them. But I'm actually thinking about queuing up that card because it does have a lot of extra cooldown. So if I go to cards and I go to the Loki, let's see if we can find it real quick here. You go to this card, you can see cooldown is one of the main stats on this card, and it gives ignore defense. So I can just get the card and I can go ahead and equip it. I don't have to re-roll it. And that's another thing. You're trying to equip cards that you don't really have to re-roll. You want the main orange stats to have that cooldown. That's very, very important. For my equip cards here, this one here, I can get cooldown on it, but I'm going to have to level it up to get more cooldown. And that's what I'm going to have to do. Unfortunately, when you upgrade these cards, you're going to need, well, okay, I just got more cooldown, right? That actually worked out pretty damn awesome. I got more cooldown. So now I have 15% cooldown. By the way, I wouldn't really recommend doing it the way I did it. You're actually better off to hit upgrade. I hit quick upgrade. So I actually got rid of some cards, but it's not a big deal because the cards I got rid of, I don't really need. I've already went through them. I don't need them. But typically you want to hit the upgrade, not quick upgrade. You want to hit upgrade. That way you can choose the cards that you want to use as fodder. So this last slot is either going to be another card that I get that has a skill cooldown. And really I'm hoping that I can get one of these Civil War cards. Let's see if I can find it here real quick for you guys. Here it is. No, this one here. This card here. I'm hoping I actually get this card right here because it has cooldown on it. That's all I care about. I just want cooldown, cooldown, cooldown. And your goal is, so if I had that card I just showed you, I'd equip it in this last slot, get a little extra cooldown. So your goal is to, start off with these kinds of cards. The Marvel Zombie card and Loki card. Actually, the cards that I've equipped are very good for beginner accounts to start off as far as being free to play. And you can always keep leveling up this card because that all attack and cooldown is never going to change. You can keep leveling up this card because that cooldown is never going to change. You can keep leveling up this card until you get cooldown, then I would probably stop. This card here, you could keep leveling up till you get cooldown, then I'd probably stop. And then in this last slot, that card that I showed you would be really good, or any other card that you're trying to get cooldown on. And that's really going to help you a lot in the very beginning. But when I equip that Loki card from the Thor Ragnarok Legendary Battle, and I level that thing up, because right now I'm already facing GBR. And this is where you get these cubes, so that way you can start crafting your cards. Now, for those of you that don't know what crafting is where you take a P card, like so. This is a P card. You see the P in the top left hand corner. You take a card like this. You already have your stats rolled on it. Crafting is just like what it does is it adds more stats. It adds more attack, dodge, cooldown, all of these things. Ignore defense. It adds a bunch of stats, but it also, you see the stars here on it, it also can change the color of your stars. And when you have 3 blue stars, it actually gives you something called Pierce, which I talked about earlier, that ignores all the defenses of your opponents in World Boss, in Squad Battle, and Shadowland. And that makes a huge, massive difference for you in this game. So if I have one of these P cards equipped, which is why I'm thinking I'm probably going to put that Loki card on, then after a while, after about, maybe 6 weeks of playing, a month to 6 weeks of playing, maybe I might have enough materials to go ahead and craft that card. Also, being able to play GBR is going to give me a lot of these tokens right here. And once you have 600 of those tokens, you're going to start being able to pull these premium cards for free. About every 40 days, you're going to be able to get one of these premium cards. It's all RNG. You don't know what you're going to get. So that's kind of what leads me to maybe not get that Loki card, because the thing is, you might get a really, really good P card out of here, and you might just tough it out as far as, spending money on a uniform to level up for that Loki card. It might be better just to wait. In fact, the more I think about it, the more I think that's what I'm probably going to do. I'm probably just going to try to get more cards, roll them, try to get some more cooldown that way, and just put a regular card on my equipped cards instead of going for that Loki card. The more I think about it, I think the smarter that sounds. So I know this has been a bit of a long video. It was a whole lot to talk about and show you guys. So if you have any questions about starting off in Marvel Future Fight, you can watch me on Twitch or contact me in Discord. Both links will be in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.